Hello everybody, welcome to this video. One more build guide for your eyes only. This time around we have a very unique build. This build is a unique not because of the class. I mean, everybody can play an Avenger and most people have already played an Avenger class. It is unique on how it is built around dealing damage with the bow. I call this build the Pride because it uses this legendary bow, the D-June's Pride, or however you pronounce that name. This bow is one very powerful bow, one of the most powerful bows in the whole game, including all DLCs. It is coming via DLC as far as I recall. It is very powerful, and I decided to make a build, but we have a twist on this build. The twist is that although this bow deals a very high base physical damage and it has good pierce ratio, it has added percentage of physical damage at pierce ratio, we are not using any of the physical damage of this bow and any of the pierce damage conversion of this bow that comes from the pierce ratio. Why? Because we use 100% weapon based damage as elemental. This is actually the unique spot of this build, the unique place. This bow has very powerful base damage physical and also very good pierce ratio, but we use none of that. What we do is we convert the whole amount of base physical damage up to 384 to elemental, which means that now this bow deals all three types of elemental damage, and on top of that we deal the flat piercing damage of the bow. It says 103 up to 214 piercing damage. This is a flat number, it is extra piercing damage, it doesn't come from the pierce ratio conversion. And this bow now deals the base physical damage as elemental only, and the flat piercing damage of this bow. And how do we make this thing work? We do it by converting the whole amount of damage of the bow to elemental by using items. But before we get into the items, first we have to talk about the attributes. This is a legendary hero, it started at level 70. I didn't spend any attribute points on health, energy and strength. I spent all of my points on intelligence and dexterity almost equally, a little bit more on intelligence, but a bit almost equally. We have both at least 500 here, and this means that we increase both our elemental damage and pierce damage by using attribute points on intelligence and dexterity, because intelligence increases elemental damage and vitality damage, and the dexterity increases multiple types of damage including piercing. This is how we get our damage output, the main source, and then we have other sources. Now for the skills, we have Earth Mastery and Hunting. In Earth Mastery we have maxed out the Earth Enchantment skill tree with all three, of course. This one provides survivability, Brimstone provides more physical damage, which is useless, but I'm using it for the bird damage over time, and Earth Enchantment, which provides more buffs to fire damage and bird damage. And we have the Volatility, which when it triggers again physical damage useless. As we can see, I'm not using any spells here that deal physical damage. Also another unique twist of this build is that, as we can see down here from the skills, this build, the only attacking skill of this build is the marksmanship. It is a pure bow build. Very pure. No spells used at all, at least for now. So from this skill the physical damage buff is useless because we don't deal physical, but the fire and the bear damage are very useful. I've spent 1 point on heat shield to get the physical damage resistance, and burn retaliation, but that is useless because it is very low, it doesn't really matter. And I spent 1 point on stone form and 1 on molten rock, or this one just for the survivability that it provides sometimes. For now, this is the build here from the Earth Mastery. The Hunting Mastery we have maxed out Steady Prey and Flash Out add-on. The Steady Prey, the physical resistance is useless again to reduce it to enemies because we don't deal any physical damage with our bow attacks, but we deal piercing damage, of course, and here we deal elemental damage and some bleeding sometimes maybe, but not really that much. But anyways, here what do we have? We have Call of the Hand. Call of the Hand had a very huge cooldown, but due to some specific items we have perfect cooldown reduction, at least for this one skill. This means that on this build we can have permanent Call of the Hat. It is permanent. And this one provides, for now I will max it out later, it provides some flat bleeding damage, attack speed, and the rest of it. And this one provides big buffs to pierce damage and bleeding damage. And I spent only 1 point on this one to have this 2% chance of 50% reduction to enemy's health. Of course 2% chance is very low, but sometimes it triggers and it doesn't really matter. It is just a single point spent. We have the marksmanship, maxed out of course at a +3. Added piercing damage, we have the piercing damage of the bow itself. Now we get also with marksmanship this piercing damage. So as we can see we deal lots of piercing damage. Although we don't get any piercing damage from the conversion. We have more piercing damage buffs and bleeding damage and chance to pass through enemies. And also we have the scatter shot arrows which applies bleeding damage and piercing damage to enemies. Here I have spent 1 point for now, I will max it out later, the gouge. This one sometimes it triggers and it adds more bleeding damage. It is good to have since we also have this one which reduces the bleeding damage, the bleeding resistance of enemies. So when this triggers, enemies receive even more bleeding damage and it is a nice buff. Also bleeding damage gets buffed by dexterity, so we also did some good bleeding damage every now and then. At least on some enemies that don't have any bleeding resistances. And here we have the volley which launches 3 projectiles sometimes. We have maxed out the Art of the Hat which provides big buffs to pierce damage and bleeding damage. And also fight cover for the chest to avoid projectiles. And trail blazing for the stats that it provides. Of course, wood lore to get attack speed and defensive ability with the bow, and the herbal remedy it is maxed out totally. For the poison resistance and also the health regen per second, which is not really that good, it is not that much. Items. Gambadine! This item is absolutely perfect for this build. Why? First of all, we need the conversion of 50% weapon based damage converts becomes elemental. This is one of the 2 items that provide this stat that will convert the full amount to elemental. Then it provides the 25% chance of plus 200% elemental damage. This means that one of 4 attacks of ours have this buff of plus 200% elemental damage. And our attacks deal lots of elemental damage already because we convert the base damage of this bow to elemental. So you can imagine how much damage we deal. And it also provides the minus 25% recharge, which is the cooldown for skills, which is very crucial for this build because having enough cooldown means we can have Call of the Hat permanently running on us and we get permanent 33% attack speed, bleeding damage flat, and piercing and bleeding damage buffs and whatever. It is amazing. We have the resisted robe of the gods. This is based on intelligence, but it has a super high armor, base armor, and this is why I'm using this one. And it also provides the total damage of the gods is very good suffix. And I decided to go with the rigid carapace because I needed more pierce resistance, and we can see that my pierce is still not that good. It is good but not good enough for legendary. But now we have a very nice item here. Golden Agris helmet. This legendary is amazing, one of the best helmets in the whole game, legendaries at least. This is the other source that provides the weapon based damage becomes elemental, so 50% from this one and 50% from this one, 100%. And also we get the many resistances, elemental damage is buff, and the minus 24% recharge and minus 25% recharge, it is 49. 49, we have 73 recharge reduction. 80% is the maximum you can get. So this is a perfect combination of items. Here we have the Unbeds of the Dead. This is a very powerful intelligence based Unbeds item. It provides very good resistances and some buffs against ghosts and the dead. Less damage from those enemies and more damage against those enemies. And some chance of lifeless retaliation, which helps with survivability. But of course retaliation effects work only with melee attacks. And here we have the Boots of the All Father, amazing item. Legendary set of Ragnarok, plus 1 to skills and many resistances and movement speed. For the jewels we have the Myrmidon's Pendant. I'm using this one because this one provides many resistances and also the health points. The Warwood skill is useless because we use a bow. The physical damage buff is useless because we don't deal physical damage, but it has many great resistances. Here we have the amazing green item, Volcanic Ring of Thunder. This one provides flat bird damage, flat fire damage, flat lightning damage, and some lightning damage buffs. Of course, the lightning damage is very low as an aber, but still, because we buff up our intelligence and our elemental damages via many sources, this 6 lightning damage adds a good amount of damage to this build. It is not as low as it seems, because we get many buffs from other sources. And on top of that, we have the incarnation of the Star of the Evening, which provides even more elemental damages, which also buffs up the 6 lightning damage, which is, as you can see, much higher than 6. And also we have the 25% attack speed, because we need attack speed. Here I'm using the Resisted Seal of Tranquility. I'm using this one for survivability only, but we have these 2 rings here. Here is a funny thing. For example, we have this ring here which provides many elemental damages, and we have this Apollo's Will, which is amazing, which provides pierce damage buff a huge amount and very nice resistance. If I replace this one, my average damage goes down, attack speed goes down, and DPS goes down. But with the green one, all these things go up. Of course, we get some resistances via the Apollo's ring, but mostly pierce, because I can get this poison resistance from the Herbal Remedy skill, so from the Apollo's Will it is useless, the poison resist. And we also get fire resist, okay. But if I put it on this one, I get a little bit more damage output, because this ring here provides only survivability, no damage buffs. This one provides the pierce damage buff. Let's put this one here. Now, we have this ring. If we equip this ring on this slot, our damage output goes even higher, because on this build we buff even further our elemental damage rather than the dexterity pierce damage, whatever. Now, let's activate the Call of the Hand, which provides much higher pierce damage. We are here with this one, 2547, 2984, but if I put the Apollo's Will, it is 2830. 2830 with this one, 2984. So we can see that even with Call of the Hand, which provides big pierce damage buffs, still this one with the bird damage and the fire damage flat percentages, it provides more average damage and more DPS. But still, I decided to go with the green one, because I wanted more health points and more survivability, especially vitality resistance. Even without these ones, the damage output of this build is very awesome. This is the bow, as we said before. This bow is amazing, it provides many good things, also some resistances, per cold. Let me activate the skills that I'm using all the time. 1, 2, 3. Herbal Remedy. So, my resistances now are 15% fire, 76 cold, 80 lightning, 45 pierce, perfect vitality, perfect poison, minus 78, 26% physical. Combined armor is not the best, of course, but still we are at a good spot. Average damage is 32,000, 37,000 DPS, 115. But of course, again, if we use the Call of the Hand all the time, damage goes 3,700, average 5,000 and 137. And if we go with this one, for example, it goes up to 44 and 6,000. I mean, we're talking about awesome numbers here. Every now and then I can replace this one with this one. I can replace this one with this one to get even more damage output. Maybe I will give it a try in some cases, but this is good enough, I would say. Here we have secondary resistances, 73 recharge reduction, movement speed is almost perfect, defensive ability is good enough for the beginning of Legendary. Offensive ability is useless because we use a bow, and these are the stats, and this is the build. This build is very satisfying to play, it is very simple. All we need to do is to keep track of the hit shield, which has, 100-second duration, 1 minute and 40 seconds only, and we have to remember to activate it every 1.5 minutes or so. And then to keep track on the Herbal Remedy, which has longer duration, of course. But then we have to keep track on this one, Call of the Hand. Call of the Hand has 52-second duration, but it has 48 seconds recharge, and every time this one fully refreshes, we need to activate it again just to have it permanently running. This is the unique part of this build as well. So, unique part consists of using a very strong bow with very high base damage but converting the full damage to elemental, and using the flat piercing extra damage of the bow along with the converted now to elemental base damage of the bow without using the conversion of the bow to pierce damage, and then having almost perfect cooldown reduction so that we can have the Call of the Hat permanently running, activated, and having of course the buffs to elemental damages from skills like these ones, to a 25% chance of elemental damages and other buffs to elemental damages and whatnot. This is the build. Now,
we've got trouble. The dead race them.
Time to kill something.
The truth is, old sailors.
And also the other unique part of course is that this build deals damage only with a bow. It is purely a bow build. Pure bow damage.
The three princes.
Pure bow damage. So, the gameplay of this build is that simple. Very, very simple. Or if we want, we can replace that one with this one to get even more bird damage over time. Inside the ancient ruins we run. And he is dead. Already. Buff up the Call of the Hat. Okay. Everything is easy. Act 1 is going to be very easy for this build. Also Act 2, Act 3. The good thing with this build is that it is a bow build and it has a long range of attack. It can keep its distance from powerful enemies. So guys, this is the build. This is the Pride build. I don't know if you like it. If you like it, leave a comment below, but hit the like button. And I think this is the best bow build I have ever made when it comes to pure bow build. I mean bow builds that don't use any spells to attack with, they attack only with the bow. Thanks for watching this video. I'll be back soon with more content. Stay tuned, subscribe, or support the channel, become a member if you want to support me to keep going with content. And I will see you very soon again. Have a great one.